Who better than America's accountant to have a chat with about this? Please welcome to the show, Dan Geltrude. Dan, thanks for being on. It seems so straightforward and so obvious, but it doesn't really get talked about. And I had to kind of dig for that number. You know, those tax receipts coming in, yes, it means economic activity obviously is slowing. And that's less money for the government. And that's telling us that there's not a lot or not as much activity going on out there as we thought. Where do you stand on that? And I was surprised to see that it is a pretty good harbinger of a recession if there is one to come.
Well, it makes a lot of sense, Scott, when you think about what corporations and individuals are reporting as far as their income and thus how much is being paid in tax on top of that. And when you have that number dropping, meaning tax receipts collected by the government, it should absolutely indicate a slowing economy and the potential for a recession. However, there is a fly in the ointment related to this calculation. The economy is still growing. Right. Why would that be? People are still spending money. Well, how so? Well, if you look at the number that just came out last week or the week before, Scott, about Americans have just exceeded $1 trillion in credit card debt. So what's happening is the reason the economy is holding on, in my view, is because people are debt financing their purchases. And as we know, sooner or later, you run out of places to borrow, like your credit cards. And then we really could see the recession. So is it going to happen soon? Hard to say. Will it happen eventually? Well, you can't keep borrowing and spending. Not everybody's the federal government.
Oh, don't you think that's been the issue, though? I think you're right. I absolutely think you're right. And at some point in time, you got to pay the piper, right? Something's got to break. And so the debate has been whether or not we're going to have a recession, when I think the debate really should be when are we going to have the recession, right? Because it just seems to me that you're exactly right. We've now got folks trying to pay down credit card debt. They usually do that behavior before a recession comes around the corner. You've got the inverted yield curve, which, quote unquote, is so far undefeated when it comes to telling us we've got a recession coming around the corner. Now, you know clearly where I stand on this thing, but also we've got the inflation's still now ticking back up with CPI and PPI. I have a hard time. I've been doing it for 36 years. It'll be my 37th year around the corner. I have a hard time with the idea of all of those data inputs, especially now this new tax receipts one that I dug out this morning. Of say, if your grandmother died and left you $100,000, I just would feel reticent about piling that money right into the markets, because I just feel like I don't trust myself and I don't trust the market. I feel like something could be coming around the corner here. What do you feel like?
Well, Scott, all this information that we get, it can be contradictory, right? Because you look at one side and you say, well, it looks like we're going in this direction. You look at another side and it's going in a different direction. Let me bring out another point for us to consider. We have an aging population in the United States. And when you look at a population that is aging, what generally happens is their income comes down and they are more dependent upon the government. Now, when you take that fact and you take how inflation has certainly exceeded how much people have been getting as far as wage inflation, you start to see these things line up, and maybe those ominous clouds are not that far away. Look, as individuals and as government, Scott, the answer is this. You have to stop spending.
Yes.
Particularly more than what you bring in. I don't know how else to say that, because it's such basic common sense. But if we followed that in terms of having some fiscal responsibility, these problems would start to ease.
And when we've got, $600 billion just to pay off the interest expense on our debt, that will soon be $1 trillion. That's nothing to laugh at. And I tell you what, I don't know how we so blindly just shrug off Fitch and Moody's, but we seem to be shrugging it off.
Well, if you look at the world order of things, Scott, right, the rest of the world, and maybe people know something we don't, the rest of the world realizes we can't let the United States fail. Talk about too big to fail. So let's just keep lending them money,
right.
and keep them going.
Right. I know. I feel you. We're on the same page. We've got some ominous signs ahead of us, and we're going to keep bringing them up here because we can't ignore them anymore. Thank you very much, Dan.